Welcome back to the Pixels and Papers channel, and this week we're going to do another edition of what I like to call Sagas and Superheroes. This is where we're going to talk about something going on with like a comic book related property or sci-fi, fiction, or some other fantasy fandom. Last time I did Logan. This time we're going to be tackling Marvel's Iron Fist series on Netflix. Well, let's go ahead and get the obvious out of the way. This series has been getting lambasted. I'm talking about it's been getting beat down. I'm talking it's been bad. Everyone from IGN to BuzzFeed to CNN, CNET, you name an outlet, and they have trashed this series in some way, shape, form, or fashion. The main thing you probably hear a lot of people say about it is that it's boring, it's not interesting, we've seen this before, they put a white dude in what should be an Asian person's role, or, any number of things. I'm not really going to go into a lot of that. What I am going to talk about is basically whether or not I enjoyed it, or didn't enjoy it, or I think it's worth your time, or maybe even point out some things that may be, well, good within the bad. The main thing people keep harping on is Finn Jones' portrayal of Danny Rand, which, I won't lie, it is kind of hit or miss at times, and you kind of wonder like where he's trying to take this. He plays off as almost too naive, except for when it counts. Otherwise, I don't think his portrayal of Danny Rand is bad, because, let's face facts here. We've never seen Danny Rand portrayed on any media before, other than, like, cartoons. And it's okay. It's not the best thing in the world. I'm just glad that he didn't take the Oliver Queen approach that we see on Arrow, where he comes back from some magical, mystical land or some island or whatever, and he's got the power of brooding just permeating through him. That being said, the people who are, supposedly the villains of this series, Ward and Joy and David Meacham, they are, I don't want to say they're weak, but they are definitely not the strongest part of the series. They are billed as being the villains, the quote-unquote villains, but the thing is they have so much inner drama going on between them that their side of the show does come off a little soapish. You could literally call it As the Rand Turns, and that would be appropriate for what's going on with their characters. And their characters fluctuate too much from being, oh, we're the good guys, to the bad guys, to we don't know what the hell we are. And not to mention a lot of what they're doing, their interactions between them and Danny Rand are just all over the place, and just, I don't know. The show, you probably could have taken the Meachams out and just let it be the Hand. It probably would have been a better show for it. The good news is that characters like Madame Gao and another character I don't want to go too deep into show up that actually help give some legitimacy to the villains in the show. And I want to say that I almost wish they would have focused more on these characters. Because Madame Gao, a character we haven't seen since Daredevil Season 1, really, she went from being the inscrutable Asian stereotype to actually being something a little more useful. I really do wish they would have focused on her. And the Hand, though present in this series, they almost come off as a less legitimate threat than they did in Daredevil Season 2. Which is weird, because I know a lot of people are kind of on the fence about Daredevil Season 2. Me personally, I didn't have a problem with it. I thought that it was just fine. But, a lot of people say the Hand wasn't really a threat, and they are a threat. I don't see how they're not, but in this series, the Hand, what people probably thought about the Hand in Daredevil Season 2, I think about the Hand in this season. But they are still at least a more legitimate threat than the Meachams. Now, another thing that people have been lambasting this series for are the fight scenes. The fight scenes are kind of weak, for the most part. They come together in spots, and some of the best fights happened like mid to later in the season, where you can feel they kind of wanted to up the ante a little bit. Like, they bring in characters from the comics, like Zhao Shan, the drunken kung fu master. You also get to see the Bride of Nine Spiders. There's a couple other characters that pop up here and there that, really give some legitimacy to the fight scenes. Finn Jones is kind of stiff in a lot of his scenes, I won't lie. And I tried real hard not to pay attention to it, but I just kept noticing it. And it's not his fault, it's just, I think it's really the fight choreography, because it's all over the place. Colleen Wing, who is played by Jessica Henwick, she is actually not bad. Her scenes are pretty good, for the most part. I don't know, maybe the sword choreography just worked better. That's just what I personally feel. Let's go ahead and get this out of the way, too. They do not touch on the Iron Fist costume from the comics, though you do get to see a little teensy-weensy bit of it here and there in the form of colors, and there is actually a legitimate Easter egg for like an original Iron Fist. It never really goes much further than being just something you see for a split second. It's almost a blink and you miss it type deal. Another problem people have really been bringing up is the fact that the dialogue is bad. Me personally, I think the dialogue is okay for the most part. I mean, it is ham-fisted in all the wrong places. And even though I think Danny Rand and Colleen Wing have great chemistry, as far as, the portrayals between Finn Jones and Jessica Henwick, I think they work, but at the end of the day, I feel like there are some moments where it gets a little bit corny. Rosario Dawson comes back as Claire Temple, who she's been a mainstay in all of the series, but I feel like even for her, some of it is... Her dialogue is actually okay, her portrayal, her chemistry, everything with her is on point. It almost seems like she was on a completely different show. It kind of makes you wonder if they maybe should have just put up like a night nurse season, maybe do like a short, like maybe 7, 8, 9 episode season, just nothing but night nurse, just hooking people up with medication and stitches and stuff. Probably the worst crime this show commits is that and this is something that's been a problem with a lot of the Netflix shows, is that it is probably about 3 or 4 episodes too long. This one definitely, you feel it. And it's not bad per se, it's just that you notice this, and it's in the first 4 episodes. You could probably skip those first 4 episodes, go straight to episode 5 or 6. Start with that. You're good. Me personally, I feel a lot of the hate this show gets is probably because it is too similar to other shows and movies we've already seen. I mean, Iron Fist has a very similar origin story to both Batman and Green Arrow and several other superheroes. I'm going to go ahead and say, despite a lot of the things people are talking about, they're blasting it for the dialogue, the fight scenes, the portrayals, the characterizations, the villains, all that stuff. All that being said, it's not a bad show. It is just not up to par with what we have seen from some of these other shows like Daredevil Season 1, Jessica Jones, and Luke Cage. Does that make it bad? No, not really. I have enjoyed most of my time with it, and honestly, most everyone I've talked to personally, a lot of the people, all my friends, people on Facebook, Twitter, elsewhere in the world, everyone I've talked to has universally said the show is not bad. Yes, it has problems, but there are some people out there who don't even give a damn. You know what? I'll go ahead and tell you what the problem is. This show commits the ultimate sin that you can commit in today's, internet, fast consumption, era. It's not good. It ain't bad. It's just okay. And that's a big crime for a lot of people. Some people do not like shows that are just okay. They want it to be either great or awful. And I'm sorry, but that's just not the case here. This show is just okay. It's clearly the weakest season of any of the shows they've done so far for Marvel on Netflix. That being said, I had a great time with it. I enjoyed it. I had fun. I mean, I did feel those first few episodes being a little long and drawn out and real slow burn type, of a deal. But at the end of the day, I thought it was just fine. And I think that it's worth the time, considering that Netflix is cheaper than cable and going to the movies. I would say that this is well worth your time. Now that that's out of the way, thank you guys for watching. If you enjoyed what you saw and you would like to see more, please subscribe. I plan to do videos like this at least once a week, whether it's our normal board game stuff or, it's the sagas and superheroes or something video game related. I mean, we mostly focus on RPGs, but I mean, this is a thing here. Also, don't forget to comment and like the video. I mean, let us know what you think. I mean, hell, I'm always up to talking about something on the internet. And also, don't forget to check out the podcast on iTunes and Stitcher. Thank you guys for watching, and may your successes be critical and your failures not so much. See you later.